It is Friday, August 12th, 2022. Welcome to Baseball Today. I'm Trevor Plouffe. That is not Chris Rose. He's still doing one of his thousands of other jobs that he has. That is my good friend, Aussie Peter Moylan, in the red shirt, white ball cap looking fly. Peter, what's going on, man?
Me, I'm just living, man. I actually have my first week off in a long time. So I'm going to enjoy this baseball today with you. And then I'm going to shut it down for the rest of the day.
I love it. Anything else like planned during the week or like what's going on, man?
My daughter and I haven't had a lot of time. So I'm sure she's going to drag me around the place. I'm either going to be playing Barbies or I'm going to be on the trampoline. I'm going to be doing something in that capacity over the next 12 to 24 hours. Plus, Bluey season 3 just came out. If you guys haven't got on Bluey yet, get yourself season 3. It's unbelievable.
I like Bluey. Bluey
It's
does it
so
for me a little
funny,
bit.
dude.
All right, let's talk not Bluey. Let's talk baseball. We're
Okay.
going to start out with something fun. The Field of Dreams game. It happened yesterday. The Cubs win 4-2 over the Reds, and there was a ton of great moments. For me, it was the Griffies
Me too.
walking out of the cornfield, playing catch, all the other families coming out into the field to join them. That really like kind of gave me goosebumps a little bit. What was your favorite part? There were so many things. We had the Hap and Votto mic'd up, the Ray Liotta tribute, 8 different Hall of Famers in
It's
attendance, the
ridiculous.
hologram. Peter, what
Yeah.
was your favorite thing about the game last night?
I don't know if you know this about me, Trevor, but I used to wear number 24 because of Ken Griffey Jr. All the way up. And everything that man does is amazing. Seeing those two guys out there live out that dream, the cornfield, the theater of the whole event, the way that they do it, it's just beautiful. I just think it's such a pure baseball experience. And then you see all the rest of it that goes with it. That Harry Carey hologram was. I've just seen the highlights. I turned it off before then, but I've seen the highlights on Twitter. And did it look as good as it looked on Twitter in real life? Because that was kind of crazy to me.
I don't know why any artist actually performs anything in real time anymore. I would just be a hologram because it looked great. And man, like everything was so special about the night. And we've talked about this before on our media channel here. Like baseball needs to continue to do stuff like this. Like the Field of Dreams, that's a layup, bro. Like this
Yeah.
is a movie that's ingrained in our culture. It brings back the past, it brings in the present of baseball. Great. We need to start doing other stuff like this. I've mentioned before about, let's do in San Diego, let's have, a big action producer get a hold of the stadium, set up his cameras, big explosions after a home run, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, because this is the aesthetic here. Not only like the gameplay and all that stuff, it's great, but the aesthetic, the uniforms, the way the cameras are, like the sun setting over the cornfields, like
People dressed
everything.
up, people dressed up
Yeah,
in old timey gear. It's awesome.
exactly. It's dude, this is an entertainment business. We
Yeah.
forget that sometimes. Like yes, it's sports, nothing's scripted, but it is entertainment. Okay?
And
Like
you say that, and that's 100% true, because when you look at the ski, we're not just fighting against other sports. We're fighting for the attention and the attention of people. That's up against Netflix, Hulu, you name it. Like we need to
Bluey.
start exactly. We need. I'm with you, and I don't like the Nickelodeon thing the NBA did was awesome. It got the kids involved. It was different. I'm with you. I'm with you, Trev.
That was the NFL, Peter. I understand. In
Whatever.
Australia.
I don't know.
You guys
Same
don't like
sport, dude.
football.
Same sports.
Same sport. I love you, Peter. Turns out Bluey is going to be our next venture in MLB. You heard it here first. Peter Moylan is here. You might be directing it.
I might be. I'm the voice. I can definitely have a character role in there because I sound just like everyone. We've got the keepy uppies and the pass the parcels.
Honestly, that's probably what we need to do. Field of Dreams. This is relating to the older crowd, the older generation. Some of us watched it with our parents, stuff like that. But like, yeah, we might need to do a Bluey game. I like that actually. All right. Yeah, Peter's writing it down, guys. Okay. Now, that was fun. Let's get back to the real grind of baseball, the dog days. Usually I don't talk starting pitchers when Chris Rose isn't here because you know how I feel about him. But there's a few guys that I actually really like. A couple get me excited. Framber Valdez is an absolute guy, Peter. He goes 7 innings pitch, shutty,
Yeah.
8 Ks, 1 walk. It's his 19th consecutive quality start. It's his 19th consecutive quality start. As a former pitcher and especially as a reliever,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you?
So let me give you a little bit of a glimpse into the reliever life. We like to plan things out, and one of the things that you do plan is that you look at the upcoming schedule and you see where you might be able to get a day off. That would be Framber Day for me. It was Tim Hudson back in the day. You knew when Huddy was coming out, it was basically going to be, because I was a 6th, 7th inning guy back then, so you knew that Huddy was genuinely going to get into that 6th or 7th inning. So you basically have a spa day. Maybe you decide to go out the night before, maybe you don't. I don't know. But that tells me that Framber's going to go out there. Like Sandy Alcantara, dude, those two guys, there's just certain guys like a Scherzer, there's just certain guys that you just look at and you go, they're going to go out there and get it done. And even if they struggle, you can see them just grind it through and just settle everything down and still be able to get through 5 or 6 innings. It's just, those are the kind of guys you need.
Framber kind of started out as a joke on Talking Baseball because he was on the mound and he had this like tiny little glove. It looked like a little infielder's glove. And we just started like laughing and like, we love this guy. Like he was dealing, but we just thought it was just fun for us. Framber has turned himself into a horse, a guy like you're talking about that you can just in the bullpen, kick back and relax.
Yep.
Okay. And the Astros have a couple of them. We'll talk about that.
He works quick too. The pace that he works with is quick. He's not sitting around messing around. Infielders are on their toes. Outfielders are ready to make plays. It's all good.
And he's throwing his heater, 95 top of the zone. He's got elite spin on the curveball. Hitters are hitting 145 against his curveball. This guy is electric, man. And the Astros are just so good. They have like 2 or 3 of those guys that they can kick back and say, hey, we're good. And this, to me, is a reason why they're one of the favorites in the postseason every year, because the bullpen is probably fresher than some of these other teams that are really, working that 5 and dive type of mentality. Yeah, because you have to rely so heavily on relievers all throughout the year. But granted, we did see, if you can get on a roll as a bullpen and you can, I'm talking like from this point on, you can't rely on your bullpen from April all the way through, but you saw what the Braves were able to do and be consistent and find something, and then they just roll. But that's the confidence and the consistency in the back end and from the starting rotation that causes that. I love Framber. He's a guy, he had everything working last night. Good job, Framber. And I don't think he used that little glove anymore, so I'm a little kind of disappointed in that, but keep doing your thing, man. Moving on, second question. We got a viral White Sox tweet. Jay Cuda dug up the Sox record over various points, and let's just say, Peter, it's uninspiring. It's actually first half incredible. 500. Second half, 500. Since 1978. 500. But you keep this going. Team, you could just keep going. They are as 500 as 500 gets, and this is not what we expected out of this team. So my question to you, Peter, do we need to stop talking about them? We can't stop talking about them with the roster that they have. I know they're dealing with a lot of shit right now, but still, it's like, Trev, you can't look up and down that roster and think that they can't be competitive if they can get something going. But we keep saying that, Peter. I don't understand. What is it? Is it the culture? Is it the fact that their manager falls asleep in the first inning? What is it? Like, I don't understand. Does it feel like he's lost control of that team? I don't speak to anybody in that clubhouse on a regular basis. I speak to Liam Hendricks every now and then, but it's never about, hey man, what's going? Like, I don't know what the problem is in that White Sox clubhouse, or if it is a clubhouse problem, is it a front office problem? Okay, that's kind of like the second part of this question, because we have heard some rumblings. Jimmy's going to get really into it with me about this topic on Talking Baseball later today. But there was an article that came out, Johnny Cueto mentioning like sometimes we have no fire, or we need the fire back. And Tony La Russa kind of pushed back at that and said, what are you talking about? That's not true. And then there were other quotes. Lucas Giolito was mentioned in there saying, yeah, like sometimes we don't have the fire. Like, this is a problem. Jerry Blevins came on the show yesterday. We talked about it on the Ant portion a little bit. Yeah. Saying the same thing. It just looks like it's uninspired baseball. They had a couple guys were given the okay to not run out ground balls during the year because they wanted to stay healthy. And it's like, you can't set that tone, Peter, and expect to come out and win baseball games. So
But you can't blame that's not on that's the way the game's going, Trev. Like they're gone are the days where you're grinding out. Freddie Freeman, Whit Merrifield, these kind of guys, they want to play every single day and they're forced to take days off because they're trying to monitor. It's because it's become very scientific. They try and measure everything and make sure that nobody, but if it was working so well, we'd have no injuries. And everybody right now, we have more injuries than ever. So clearly something has to change.
I think it's person by person, but I think you can't have a few guys doing that and expect other guys to be going and
young
playing.
Guys. How's that an example for a young guy? You're a young guy,
Exactly.
21 years old, and you're like, oh well, fuck, why am I going to run anything out if he doesn't have to?
So we've been talking about this, like the White Sox needed the moment, whether it's a brawl, whether it's some guy in the clubhouse. No, I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
Like
Chris Sale cutting up all the jerseys,
whatever it may be. And I'm thinking, is this article the spark that lights the fire? Because they're going to be talking about this. Tony La Russa, like whatever. I hate talking about this guy. He was pissed. So there's some. He said this is a conversation to keep in the clubhouse. Well, you know what? I'm happy that Cueto mentioned it to the media because now like they're going to have to address this problem.
Right.
And I'm hoping, man, that this is the spark that lights the fire because you're right, Peter. This roster's too damn good to be 500. This roster's too damn good to be middling around, not doing anything.
But
we've been talking about the moment. Maybe this is it.
This should have happened a month ago then. If that's the case, then you shouldn't have waited till now because there's how many weeks left in the season? 8 weeks left in the season, maybe?
Yeah.
Like I know
7
that you
weeks.
can turn it around. I understand that, but this should have happened when you saw the writing on the wall. This has been a 500 team since 1970.
Bro, no, honestly, I'm not even sure if this guy's tweet is like real. I think it is, but it seems fake to me.
I hope so. I really hope so because we've just done a whole lot of talking about something that's fake. If that's the case,
I don't know. This is it. I talk a lot about how managers don't really matter. You got to play the game on the field, but there's a couple things they can do, and inspiring an uninspired team is one of them. Right. Tony La Russa, like you said a month ago, needed to go flip some fucking chairs over in the clubhouse. He needed to go call a meeting and yell at some dudes, get them fired up. Players expect that. Players need that from time to time. We're playing 162 games in 180 days. It gets monotonous, dude. It really does. And then if you're not winning games and you're kind of just going about the motions, you need someone to kick you in the butt sometimes, whether that's a veteran player, whether that's your manager, whatever. It just hasn't happened yet. I think this might be the moment.
What do you think about the whole back in the day when the Russa was managing in his peak? I'm not saying he's past it, but he's certainly not.
Of course, he's
in
past his peak,
right
Peter.
Now. Right.
You can say it's okay.
So back in the day, it was players managing players. Managers didn't have to go in there and police the players ever. Now,
I think it can be both. I think, depending on the team, if you this is a veteran laden team, they should have taken this upon themselves 100%. I can't believe Lance Lynn didn't do this already. I can't believe he hasn't thrown
Maybe
shit.
Maybe he has. We just don't know. Maybe because it hasn't had an effect, we don't hear about it.
Him and Joe McEwing, the third base coach, got into it a little bit in the dugout, but I've talked to guys and it's kind of just blah. So maybe this is it, man. For Chicago's sake, I hope so.
That's that's south side of Chicago, man. When they get going, you could see when the Paul Konerkos and all those guys were rolling. That team was good. That was a fun city to watch baseball in.
Oh, Paul Konerko and Jim Thome never would have let this happen. Love those guys. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I'm sick of talking about them. Jeez, man. Phillies at Mets, massive series.
Next.
I'll get to your Braves question. Phillies at Mets starting up a massive series in Flushing. All the horses, Pete, are going. We got Suarez versus Scherzer, Nola versus DeGrom, Wheeler versus, I'm not sure. They haven't announced it yet. Yep. Maybe someone can let us know later on. Would you rather be there to watch this series or in St. Louis to catch the weekend series against the Brewers?
It's not even a question for me because of where I'm a Braves guy. I mean, I want to go see somebody beat up on someone else in the West. And when you got the two guys that are chasing one team above, one team below, that's a great situation for the Braves because someone's going to lose ground. Now, having said that, the Phillies and the Mets are a good team. The Brewers are interesting for me right now. I don't know what they're doing, but they seem to be playing okay. The Central is going to play out, but I really think the East is going to be a shit fight. And I don't think we've seen
A
that's
what?
where they are right now is not where they end up.
Did you say a shit fight?
Yeah.
This is why I bring you on. This is
Is that
why I
not a
bring
word you
you
guys
on
say?
here, Peter. This is why we love you on the show, because now I have a new word to say.
There you go.
I don't know. Did you answer the question? Which one do you want to go
I want to
see
go to
more?
Phillies and Mets because I'm so invested in the NL East, obviously. But
Sure.
as I said, it's going to be, I think the Braves haven't hit their stride yet. The Phillies are going to get Harper back. The Mets are finding something. The Mets are really good. The Mets are Buck Showalter. I've underestimated Pete Alonso. Lindor effect is real. McNeil is great. Like the whole team is gelling. But I just don't think they have the star power and I don't know. I don't know how that goes in the playoffs.
Okay, look, I'm glad you answered that. Of course, I'd love to go see these games. I love this matchup. Unfortunately, Schwarber's probably going to miss it. You got a little mild calf cramps. So that kind of sucks for the Phillies. This seems like a postseason matchup, possibly. Great. But this St. Louis Brewers series, they're separated by a half game right now. And it's crazy because they faced off 12 times so far this year. 6-6, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They split 4 in St. Louis. They split 8 in Milwaukee. The Cardinals have scored 48 runs in the 12 games. The Brewers have scored 44. Evenly matched, man. Evenly matched. And what's interesting this year, because there's no game 163, Pete, the tiebreaker is head to head.
Wow.
It's like these games mean a lot. If they end up
which they're going to be.
If they end up tied at the end of the year, like these are the matchups that you want to see. I love the Cardinals. I say they have a complete roster because I really believe they do. Like DeYoung's kind of coming on there. Like I'm really happy for him. And then the Brewers, Jerry and I talked about yesterday. Hold on, Pete. Let me finish, bro.
Okay.
We talked about the Brewers offense, criminally underrated, even by me, a guy who like that's my team this year. I've been waiting for this offensive upgrade. They might not need it. They're fine offensively. I love this matchup. So if I had to choose, I'm going to St. Louis to see this series. I think it's one of the better kind of like matchups we have in baseball now is the Cardinals versus the Brewers. Yes, Peter, you raised your hand. What you got?
I just want to know why they traded Josh Hader. I want to know what happened. Something had to have gone down there, man.
You want to know why? I
Yes.
think I know why.
Tell me why.
Okay. Well, there's a couple different reasons, Peter. One, he's going to make like $16 million next year. And like for Brewers, I don't think they wanted to pay that. Okay. Two, he's having some issues with his release point on his fastball. It's higher this year than it ever has been. So like it's messed up, his late life, his perceived velocity is down. And that's kind of why he's getting hit. Like at the top of the zone, like guys are either laying off that pitch or they're hitting that pitch. And that never used to happen to him. And it's because of that release point. And I don't know. I haven't talked to Josh. I don't know if this is like him not wanting to change, not being able to change. Like I'm not sure what the reason is. It seems to me, as I talk to pitchers all the time, that release point, and they know that the data's there. Seems like that'd be a pretty easy fix.
Right.
But is it not?
Yeah, no. Well, my pitching career was based on video. That was the best that I got. Rapsodo and TrackMan came right at the end, but I never really took advantage of it. I feel like now there's with everything that's being captured, you can capture every swing, you can capture every stance. Hawkeye's in every stadium now, so you should see the data these guys are getting. That arm slot fix is literally just a matter of going, well, this is where you're at and you need to be here. I don't think that should be a bigger deal where you go, oh, he's never going to find it again and we should trade him.
I know, but like I said, they've had this data for a while. So like you think, hey, go throw a bullpen, let's figure some stuff out. It just hasn't happened all year. So I'm wondering if it's like I'm saying, is it a stubborn thing for him? Is it just like he can't do this anymore? Is it hurting his arm? I'm guessing here, people, but there's something going on.
When we were out there, when the Braves went out to Milwaukee, I was in the booth and he'd just come off of a 10-day IL stint and he came in and he was dominant. And he was dominant for a couple of weeks, but I don't know what has happened since then for him to turn it around so badly. But he threw 40-something pitches and after 20-something pitches the day before, first 2 outings in San Diego.
Yeah, he had a really tough outing. He walked a bunch of people,
60
and
pitches in 2 days was the most he's
yeah,
ever thrown.
yeah, he has not looked like himself. The first, I think his first outing in San Diego, he went 1, 2, 3, and then he walked a bunch of people, and then
Okay.
Machado had to save him with the walk off homer. So, I mean, that was kind of to answer your question. I think there was something that Milwaukee saw, and they said,
Okay.
"Hey, let's get ahead of this."
Sorry to interrupt.
All right, now Peter,
Yes.
we can hook you up. We want to talk
Let's go.
Braves.
Let's go.
First, shout out to our guy Freed. He went to the
Yeah.
IL with concussion symptoms. He'll be okay, I
We
think.
saw that together.
We did. We wondered what was going on. We thought he was a little bit embarrassed on that play. It was kind of what was that?
It kind
a
of legs
ground
went from
ball.
that rim. No, so he covered first, and then there was a misplay, and he had to go and pick it up
That's
and
what
try
it
to
was.
make the throw to home, and his feet went from under him, and he effectively landed on his head and shoulder on the ground. So
Hopefully you're all right, Freed. We love you, baby.
yeah.
This is my question to you about the Braves, Peter. Actually, it's not a question. It's a demand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me one thing the Braves need to do to be better. Excuse me. That's a dumb way to state that question or statement. Thank you for marking that down. Give me one thing the Braves need to do better in order to repeat as champions.
It comes down to one name, honestly, and it's the Ronald Acuna Jr. effect. We've seen Ronald in years past be the best player in baseball, hands down. We've not seen that from Ronald this year. We've seen glimpses of what he can be. And over the last 2 weeks or last road trip, he's started to get his singles and started to drive the ball, and he started to feel a little bit more confident at the plate. He's been working so hard this year, getting to the field early, taking BP, working with the hitting coaches, working with everybody. Cano was there for a while. Like, he's been trying to find it. And I think once he finds it, this team's going to roll. But Riley has to maintain what he's doing right now. Olsen has to pick it up just a little bit. We just got Kirby Yates back. Raisel Iglesias has been really nice. So those back end of the bullpens with Yates, Iglesias, and Jansen, with Matzik and Dylan Lee, and so the bullpen's no issue. Freed on the IL is a little bit of a question for me. Hopefully he'll come back. He'll be just as good as he was. But I just think that it's gonna be a war. I'm so, like, there's so many games that are lined up in our division too, that it's just this week we've got the Mets for 4 and Houston for 3, or one of the two. So this weekend itself is going to be massive to see where we're at.
Okay, so basically you're telling me they need to kind of maintain status quo.
We're good.
And Ronald Acuna Jr. needs to step it up a little bit. That's a tall ask of Austin Riley to keep going the way he's going. That guy is putting up a massive year. To me, Peter, he's number 2 in the NL MVP behind Paul Goldschmidt, which is crazy to think, dude. This guy's a young dude still. He's 25, right? Like, he has become one of the best third basemen in baseball. And that's a very difficult position to say that about. I mean, there's some really good third basemen out there.
You know more than anyone. And I have to ask you this because I don't know what it's like to be on a roll as a hitter. I know how good I felt when I felt like I could get anybody in the big leagues out at any point. But that stretch went for about 2 or 3 months. Riley's been doing this for about 2 months now. As a hitter, is this something that you could just feel he's got something that he's been able to lock in, and that's changed his whole approach at the plate?
You know, I think it's confidence and it's eyeballs at the big league level. Like, you start to get these at bats under you, and you start to see these guys, these pitchers, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, like, they got nothing that they can do, or nothing that I haven't seen before. And then it's like, okay, well, what can I do? Like, I can, whether he's gained strength, gained core strength, lost a little bit of weight, whatever it is, you can start to refine yourself. And then it's like, bam, I saw it a lot with guys who just took that next step. And a lot of it is just confidence, because when you get to the big leagues, it's fucking scary, man. Pitchers are really good, and it's day in and day out. And I've told this story before, but I love bringing it back. I was in Double-A. Floyd Rayford was my hitting coach, and there was some guy who was like dominating Double-A, and we were facing him. And he was pitching really well against us. And Floyd's in the dugout, and he's kicking the trash can. And he's like, y'all, excuse my language, y'all motherfuckers better step it up, or I'm going to go watch my soaps. That's what he used to love, watching soap operas. So he's threatening to leave the game to go watch his soap operas because we were not impressing him enough. So I said, Floyd, I was like, dude, this, like, what do you mean, bro? Like, we're battling here. This is one of the best pitchers in our league, dude. And he goes, Plouffe, he goes, take a look at him right now. If that guy goes to the big leagues, you think he's going to be an ace? I was like, I don't know. He goes, no, he's going to be a fifth starter. And if you can't hit a fucking fifth starter, you should need to pack your shit up and go home. And I was like, oh my God. It resonated with me because that's true.
Yeah.
You get to the big leagues, there are animals out there, man. And it gets overwhelming sometimes. So, to go back to Riley, like, he's just feeling more and more comfortable. He's understanding, hey, if I do my routine, like, I'm going to be good. And that is a feeling, man. It's tough to keep it all the time, but he's got it right now.
Speaking of big leagues being scary as shit, shout out to Vaughn Grissom and his big night, opening night, by the way. If you guys didn't talk about that, to see how Vaughn Grissom got called up because Arcia got hurt, goes 2 for 5 with a tank out of Fenway.
Yeah, and he pimped it a little bit, Peter.
He's dude, have you seen his interviews? Have you seen the charisma this kid carries himself with already? He's on your hot boy list in 6 months, guaranteed.
I know. I was just going to say kind of a hot guy. Okay, we're getting silly now. That's fine. Last question here on the YouTube version of the show. Dusty Baker. We love him. What? Hot boy to Dusty Baker. It's a perfect segue, Peter. All right.
It's perfect. Yeah.
So he's in quarantine right now. Hopefully he's doing all right. He doesn't have Peacock, which is where the game was being played. So he couldn't watch his team play, right? I don't know. A lot of streaming things going on right now. Just stick to our YouTube channel. So instead of watching the game, he opted for a Bob Marley documentary. My question to you, Peter, is what are your top 3 movies?
Wow. This wasn't on the email. You just dropped this on me. So this is great.
It was definitely, I definitely emailed this to you.
Okay. Well, my number 1 movie is probably Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Up there is definitely The Joker.
Okay. The new one that came out.
The new one.
Okay.
Yep. And, oh man, Schindler's List.
You just watched Schindler's List.
I did just watch Schindler's List not long ago.
You told me that. Okay, so you got 2 heavy movies, and then I guess The Joker's a heavy movie too. You're a heavy movie guy. I
just like being. I like to be taken other places when I'm watching a movie.
Okay.
And in life, really.
I wanted to ridicule you, and I wanted everyone to make fun of your movie choices, but I got to be honest, pretty good movie choices. I'm going to go, mine are a little more silly because I like to feel good at a movie theater. Lord of the Rings, 2 Towers, no doubt, best movie of all time. It's not even fucking close. Get out of here. Fallen is with Denzel and John Goodman. A really good movie that I like to watch. And then one that's like whenever it comes on, I have to watch. I don't even know if it's a top 3 movie for me, but like I love it so much. It has to be. Is Troy.
Great movie.
I love Brad Pitt.
If we're getting into that sort of thing, Catch Me If You Can, if that's on, I can't turn it off. Or Back to the Future trilogy, if that's on, I cannot turn it off.
Well, there you go, guys. Sound off in the comments and ridicule Peter's movie choices, even though they're pretty good. Wasn't expecting that, Peter. All right, that's going to do it for the YouTube portion of our show. We're doing another 30 minutes on AMP. Go download the AMP app. Use code BASEBALL today and come listen to us because we let the hair down after this. For myself, Peter Moylan, and new producer, Umpire Kev back there. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on Monday, 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern on Baseball Today. See you later.